Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to unpack certain practical tools, steps, and strategies that I've learned to find my voice and own my voice. Firstly, in a corporate setting, and then secondly, in the doing of life. The problem statement here is often because of our need to feel included or feel accepted or feel validated, we compromise on speaking our truth, hoping that that trade-off gains us acceptance and a place in the tribe. Remember, we are super tribal human beings. That's how we've been engineered, is to belong. And so a lot of people, including myself, have struggled to speak our truth and speak our truth in a way that doesn't, drop a bomb in a conversation or unravel relationships, but speak truth from our integrity in a way that clearly articulates who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in, and then allows us from that place to depart and be effective in our leadership roles, in our roles as professionals, in our ministry roles, in our relationships. The fundamental truth here, for me at least, that I've worked my way to understanding is that knowing what my values are, whether it's in a personal space, whether it's in a corporate space, the things I'm willing to do and the things I'm not willing to do, being very, very clear on those for myself first has been foundational in equipping me with the confidence and the clarity to speak my truth, to find, own, and expand on my voice in this incredibly noisy world. The disconnect generally comes in individuals or shows itself in individuals where opinion and conviction is like a rudderless ship, right? So I don't know about you guys, but I definitely know people who present themselves and their values and their desires and goals as one thing in one tribe and in one setting, and then have a very different set of values and opinions and truths that they display in another setting. And I've seen this in corporate a lot because I've spent over 2 decades in high performance organizations. And I've seen this in life, journeying along people. Remember, we're all messy humans trying to find ourselves. There is a difference between conviction changing versus, and I mean conviction changing over time, because as we evolve, we grow, and so do our perceptions, our understandings, our revelations. All of that stuff adds to the flavor and texture of our lives and who we are. That's why you find you outgrow people. But convictions and goals changing from one setting to another within a week, or that's what we're talking about. And so if you want to own your voice in this noisy world and be taken seriously and position yourself as credible, it is incredibly important first that you do the fearless internal vetting. What do I believe? What do I stand for? What will I tolerate? What will I not tolerate? From relationships, intrapersonally, in my private life, in my the realm just right outside the private life in terms of people you do life with, and in corporate. What are the things I'm willing to tolerate? What are the things that if I see them, I have a mandate to act or not act? Some of us find ourselves in toxic cultures, in toxic working environments. Being quiet when you see toxicity manifest and when you see like emotional and psychological abuse is partaking in that travesty, guys. It is. There is no neutrality when you see something bad happening and you don't do anything about it, you might as well have been the perpetrator. To deal with that as you will, right? It is what it is in my view, or at least in my experience of life. The inaction often leads to a very warped identity, because then we build on shame. And what happens is, when we bear witness to something that doesn't resonate with us and we don't do something about that, it validates or confirms some belief that we have about who we are, whether we are strong enough to speak up, whether we are able to address certain disconnects or things that don't sit well with us. And so, again, foundational to being potent in the marketplace, being potent in your community, being potent in your relationships, is understanding truly. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we surprise ourselves and we just don't know what we stand for. And so the work of articulating, what are my 5 core values or beliefs? What does success in a relationship in corporate look like from a being point of view for me? What does it not look like? And how do I choose to respond to certain situations or disconnects? Like, what does that mean? Are you the kind of person who, do you choose to be the kind of person that operates in integrity and truth, regardless of what that might do to people's opinion of you? Because speaking up and standing for something and being clear and operating in your integrity doesn't often make you popular. It just doesn't make you popular. There is a large school of people who definitely don't like what I have to say and definitely don't like the way in which I exist or operate in the world. And that doesn't make them wrong or me right, or me wrong and them right. It means we have different convictions, different values. I am clear on who I am and what I stand for and what I will and will not tolerate, and in which environments I allow myself to saturate and which I remove myself from, and those I remove myself from. And that has allowed me to speak with clarity and conviction and have a boldness around the insights and the wisdom and the message that I get the privilege of bringing to this world. So if you want to find your voice, if you want to make meaning, if you want to step into your purpose, if you want to have a real impact, whether it be at work, in your home life, in your community, in your church, you have to first know thyself, right? You have to first know what it is that you do stand for and what you don't stand for, what you will and won't tolerate. What are you going after? What is the value that you are bringing? Be clear. What is the value? What is your contribution at work? What is your contribution at home? Be clear on that. What that clarity allows you to do is, first and foremost, with respect and love and honor, call things out that don't align to who you are. That is the first thing clarity allows you to do, is to be clear and bold and together and grounded enough to call things out that do not sit well with you. But what it also allows you to do is very clearly articulate what is put inside of you to share with this world. If you are in business and you are leading a team, what is that one leadership? We all have this one message that we are just born to share. For me, the single-minded message, there might be a whole plethora of things that sit around it, but for me, the single-minded message is that we absolutely get to create the life we want if we choose to contend for the quality of our thinking. If our thinking is on autopilot or unconsidered and not deliberate, we have zero chance. We have zero chance of creating a a life that flows with abundance in joy and peace and happiness and contribution. So that's my single-minded message. There might be 10 billion things that surround that, but that is the one thing that I have been equipped and blessed and charged with bringing to the world. And it's because I've done the work in knowing what that is and in understanding, in recognizing. So one of the things that does not sit well with me is victim mentality. I really, really struggle with people who say that controlling the outcome of their lives, or at least their reaction and the way that they exist in the world, is outside of their control. I struggle with that. I completely struggle with that. And so I can speak into that context because I have come from struggle and I have chosen to take captive every thought and in collaboration with the Holy Spirit create the life and am creating the life that God has intended for me and that I dream for myself and for my daughter and for my son. So you do not have to stay silent. You are called to bring something and contribute something. None of us have been created by accident. What my pastor shared a story in a sermon, I think it was like a decade ago already, which has really just resonated with me. And I might get this, I don't know if it's a billion or a million, okay? So just, I'm going to go billion for effect, but you can fact check me. The odds that the you that is you exists today, the odds that is you, that you were the little egg and that there was a part little egg, part little sperm cell, and then ta-da, with evolution and all this other stuff, right? The you that is you today was a 1 against 75 billion or 75 million odd of being here. Like even if you got 100,000, that is crazy. Now that doesn't happen by accident. Something was put inside of you to bring to this world, but you've got to know who you are. You've got to know what your value system is, what the principles are that you build your life on. And when you're really, really, really clear on that, you start to find your voice. And then you can start to, with honor and care and respect, speak into the things that do not resonate with your value system so that you can call people up higher. And then you can bring the message of encouragement or hope or equipping that has been put inside of you to equip and encourage and inspire those that have been brought on your path. You do not have to remain silent. We each have a voice, but we have to contend for that voice. And we have to be careful and respectful and journey with honor in language and the message that we bring. It is with one line that you can undo somebody, and you can take them out, and you can remove someone from a potential future with one line, with one word. And you can build and equip and open new futures where there weren't any with that same mouth and with a different line. So managing your voice, finding your voice, using your voice, it's a mandate. It is a mandate. Doing it with honor and consciousness and consideration and care. That is our charge and our challenge. So I want to invite you over the course of the next few days, really spend time delving deep into what your value system is. Play it out in scenarios. What would you do if, find yourself in times where you have felt completely unhinged and not like yourself. What was the cause? What was the underlying drive of that? And maybe that at least starts to point you towards the values you do not resonate with, right? And the behaviors you do not resonate with. And then when are the times that you felt most alive, most connected, most integrated? And what are the underlying principles and values that unlock you there? And slowly but surely, you will start to find your voice, and you'll be able to use it at work to say no to the things you need to say no to speak up and bring all of you in the moments that you need to. You'd be able to have boundaries in relationships where boundaries protect the gift of you and the yes, so it has value, and you don't just trade your yeses for, you give it away for everyone, so it loses every value. You get to find and build and develop your voice when it comes to speaking life over people and into people's contexts and into their experience of life, and calling those out where you see a disconnect to help them come higher. Finding and owning your voice in this incredibly noisy world is not just a nice idea. It's what we are called to do and have been built to do, because if we don't speak up and if we don't speak clearly and boldly, who will? And if you're a parent or if you're a leader, if we don't show the way, those that depend on us can't go the way. Till next week.